Sometimes, a single glance is enough. Not at the external world, but at the way you perceive it. For it is not reality itself that shapes your life, but the way your soul interprets it. Your window onto the world is neither made of glass nor framed. It is built from your wounds, your hopes, your archetypes, and your shadows. Today, by choosing one of the 5 symbolic windows, we will explore together how you truly perceive life, not according to logic, but according to the profound truth you carry within you, even if you are not yet able to name it. Carl Jung said that what is outside is but the shadow of what is inside, that every act of perception is at the same time an act of projection. When we look at the world, we are in reality contemplating our own soul reflected in the mirror of reality. The window you choose today is not a matter of chance. It is the reflection of your inner configuration, of what you seek, what you try to hide, what you reject, or what calls to you from the depths of your being. Each of the 5 windows you will see today is a symbol, not a mere image. Each carries a specific psychological quality that resonates with your way of being, your history, your way of interpreting suffering, love, loss, and meaning. Your choices are not superficial. They are the language of the unconscious, communicating through symbols, dreams, images, and what moves or repels you without words. This will not be a trivial test, nor a game, nor a distraction, but an encounter with yourself, with that part of you that has been forgotten, repressed, or never fully named. The window you choose will reveal not only how you see the world, but also what limits you, what gives you hope, or what prevents you from seeing the truth in its entirety. Imagine you are alone in a room, and before you stand 5 different windows. Each one leads to a different view, a different space, both physical and mental. By choosing one, you intuitively open a door to your inner self. Do not guide yourself by logic. Do not ask yourself which window is the best. Trust your impulse. Do not judge. Simply feel. For it is precisely in that first inner impulse that the clue lies. What moves you the most is your image of the world. You are ready to look through the window of your soul. You are ready to discover how you truly see the world, not as it should be, but as your psyche perceives it in its depths. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and look at the 5 windows. Which one draws your attention? Which one unsettles you? Which one attracts you? Which one feels familiar, even if you've never seen it before? This choice does not come from your head, but from within you. In a moment, you will discover what your choice says about you, what your soul sees through this window, and how it interprets the world through it. If you chose this window, your soul speaks louder than your mind. You do not seek harmony, but truth. Even if it hurts you, shakes you, and leaves you in darkness. The image of a storm over a turbulent ocean does not frighten you, it attracts you. There is something in you that has always felt more connected to chaos than to order. Perhaps because chaos reminds you of your inner self. Perhaps because you have learned to read more truth in lightning than in the rays of the sun. The choice of this window reveals that your perception of the world is deeply emotional, intense, even archetypal. You do not see things on the surface. You feel their darkness, their weight, their underground pulse. Just as the ocean is not merely water, but a symbol of the unconscious, for you, the world is not just a stage of phenomena. It is a living organism, filled with ineffable desires, fears, and struggles between light and shadow. The storm in your soul is not just a reaction to external events. It is a profound inner dynamic that Carl Jung called the confrontation with the shadow. The shadow is that part of our psyche that we have rejected, repressed, or dared not name. And you, by choosing this window, show that you do not flee from this confrontation. Perhaps you live with it every day. Perhaps your entire life is a journey through turbulent waters, where each flash of lightning illuminates what is usually hidden: your wounds, your anger, your aspiration for something greater, for transcendence. Jung said that the unconscious directs our lives, and we call it fate. In your case, fate may take the form of emotional storms that seem unstoppable, but they are not random. They are the cries of your soul to find something authentic, something true. The storm is a ritual of purification. It is a sacred chaos that tears down illusions and allows you to reach the core. Your way of seeing the world may be perceived as difficult by others. Perhaps you are a person who sees too much, feels too much, perceives what others prefer to ignore. But this is a gift, not a curse, even if it is often carried like a cross. Your soul is like the ocean, deep, bottomless, sometimes prone to emotional overload, melancholy, or drama. But these traits are not flaws. They are the language your psyche uses to try to find meaning in a world that often seems devoid of it. This window also indicates the presence of the archetype of the Great Mother, not in her comforting form, but in her primal and destructive form, the one that does not protect but tests. It is possible that your relationship with your mother, or with feminine energy in general, has been marked by tension, dependence, or emotional storms. This may have influenced your current way of seeing the world as an unpredictable place, full of dangers, but also mystery. There is in you a hunger for transcendence that finds no rest in simple answers. Words of comfort are not enough for you. You need an experience that shakes you to your core, that opens you to something greater than yourself. In the storm over the ocean, you feel the echo of the sacred. Perhaps you even sense that at the heart of chaos lies a divinity that cannot be expressed in words. What is terrifying to others is real to you. It is possible that you often feel alienated, that your emotional intensity finds no echo in the external world, that others do not understand your reactions, your sensitivity, your tendency toward introspection. But this does not mean you are too emotional. It means you see beyond. Your window does not show a pleasant view. It shows the truth, raw, tumultuous, but honest. At the deepest level of your soul, you may also feel a desire to purify yourself. Perhaps you have experienced trauma, loss, or an identity crisis, and now your vision of the world is filtered through that experience. But it is precisely because of this that you have the capacity to feel empathy, to recognize suffering in the eyes of others. These are not things that can be taught. They come through the storm. What is chaos to others is a map to you. What is noise to others is a voice to you. Your window does not calm you. It awakens you. If you chose this window, perhaps your soul longs for light. Not a superficial, illusory, or saccharine light, but the kind of light that pierces the darkness after a long night. A green valley at dawn is not just a beautiful view. It is a symbol of hope, promise, rebirth, and a delicate strength that does not fight but endures. Your way of seeing the world is rooted in a desire for peace, a need for inner harmony, and a faith that, despite everything, life has meaning and is worth seeking. The choice of this scene indicates a psyche that has learned to see light even in the shadows, not because it ignores the darkness, but precisely because it has known it and decided not to surrender its heart entirely to it. Carl Jung said that no one becomes enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. By choosing this valley, you show that this work is already underway in you, perhaps slowly, gently, without drama, but steadily. Your vision of the world may be perceived as positive or optimistic, but beneath the surface lies a deeper truth. Your hope is not naive. It is tested. It is a decision. Perhaps you have had to reclaim it many times. Perhaps there was a time when the valley was empty and the sky was without sun, but something in you did not allow you to give up. You see beauty in what is alive, what grows, what is born after death. The valley symbolizes a soul ready to grow. It is not chaos nor rebellion, but care, tenderness, and the cycle of life. Perhaps you are a person who sees potential where others see ruins, who hears singing in silence, who knows how to wait. Archetypally, this choice is linked to the inner garden, a place where the psyche can heal, breathe, and be reborn. This may mean that you have a natural inclination to play the role of a caregiver, not necessarily literally, but emotionally and spiritually. Perhaps you are someone who brings light to others, even if you sometimes do not feel it yourself. The dawn in your window is a symbol of a new beginning. Perhaps you are a person who still believes that change is possible, that people can grow, that you can overcome your own limitations. Perhaps life has taught you that after the darkest night, the day always comes, even if you have to wait a long time. This attitude gives you strength, but it can also be a defense mechanism, for sometimes what we perceive as hope is an escape from pain. Your window may indicate a tendency to avoid conflicts, to seek consensus at all costs. Perhaps you fear confrontation because you prefer to maintain balance rather than risk rupture. But Jung warned that without contact with the shadow, light becomes an illusion. That is why your valley is not just a place of rest, but also an invitation to finally descend deeper, to your roots, to what you have not yet fully lived. The green of the valley is the color of life, but also of the heart. This indicates a personality guided by feelings, intuition, and trust in internal processes. Perhaps you have deep empathy, compassion, and openness to the beauty of the world. Perhaps you are a spiritual person, not necessarily in a religious sense, but in an existential one, believing not in dogmas, but in the presence of something greater that manifests in simple things. The song of a bird, the smell of grass, the breath of a loved one. At the same time, your window reveals your need for security. The valley surrounded by hills suggests that you feel more comfortable in stable, familiar environments where you can grow without feeling threatened. Perhaps you fear chaos, not out of weakness, but out of sensitivity. Your soul needs a space where it does not have to defend itself. And it is precisely for this reason that you are capable of creating such spaces for others. You are to them like this valley, calm, present, welcoming. This vision of the world also carries a degree of idealism. Perhaps you unconsciously idealize reality, see more goodness than truly exists, or project your inner light onto others, believing they possess it too. This is beautiful, but it can also lead to disappointments. Jung said that what we see in others is often a reflection of our own soul. Perhaps your path is to learn to distinguish where your hope ends and where reality begins. By choosing this window, you reveal your aspiration for a world that does not hurt, but heals. A reality that is not a battlefield, but a garden for the soul. And although life rarely matches this vision, your ability to see traces of it everywhere you look is a precious gift. It does not mean fleeing. It means choosing to see life, light, even when others see only shadows. If this window caught your attention, it is likely that your soul seeks meaning in structure and security in control. The image of a futuristic metropolis at night, pulsating with neon lights, does not overwhelm you. It fascinates you. For many, this image would be a symbol of separation, coldness, or dehumanization. But for you, it represents an ordered cosmos, the predictable rhythm of civilization in which it is possible to find oneself, provided one understands the rules. This window reveals a type of perception of the world that is deeply mental, analytical, and often detached from emotions. This does not mean you feel nothing, but that you have learned to feel through thought. Carl Jung described this as the dominance of the thinking function over the feeling function. Perhaps in your childhood or adolescence, you learned that emotions are chaotic, dangerous, or unreliable, and that the only way to survive is to build a mental, social, and logical structure. The futuristic metropolis you see through the window is not a coincidence. It is the archetype of the world created by the mind, filled with inventions, technology, geometry, and patterns. This means that your perception of reality is filtered through rationality. You may have a tendency to analyze, classify, and order phenomena and emotions into categories that give you a sense of understanding. But this can also be a defensive strategy, a way to avoid direct contact with what is wild, unpredictable, and deeply human. Your soul may perceive the world as a system, not as a living organism, but as a network of connections, principles, rules, and interactions. Perhaps you often find yourself in the role of an observer. You watch from afar, analyze, create models. Perhaps you have a talent for strategic intelligence, for seeing things in a broader context, for predicting the consequences of actions. This is a gift, but it can also lead to a sense of isolation, for although the city is full of life, you may feel alone in its midst. Symbolically, the neon lights of the night are like artificial stars. They try to illuminate the darkness, but their light does not come from the sky. They indicate a need to control the light, to create clarity where shadow naturally reigns. Jung would say this is a way of separating from nature, both external and internal. Perhaps you fear chaos, the unpredictable, primal instincts, and that is why you turn to what is constructed, technological, predictable. This does not mean you are cold or superficial. On the contrary, beneath this external structure, there may lie a great sensitivity that has had to learn not to be destroyed by an excess of stimuli. Your city is an armor, beautiful, shining, functional. But all armor separates not only from dangers but also from contact. Perhaps you find it difficult to establish intimate relationships, to open up to feelings you cannot predict or understand. At the same time, the choice of this window may suggest that you are a person well adapted to life in the modern world. Technology, change, and information are your natural environment. You are flexible, adaptable, and quick to learn. You move easily between different social environments, understand cultural mechanisms, and predict trends. But this flexibility can also hide a lack of deep roots. Do you have your place? Do you have your why? This window also resonates with the archetype of the hermit in its modern version. A person who does not live in the forest, but among skyscrapers. Who does not flee the world, but remains at its center, while maintaining an inner distance. Perhaps you often feel like a stranger among people, not because you are asocial, but because your mind operates on different frequencies. Perhaps you have a tendency toward intellectual introversion, living more in the world of ideas than in the world of sensations. The city at night is also a space where everything is possible, but nothing is certain. It is a symbol of incessant movement, consumption, and novelty. Is there a place in all this for silence, for feelings that are not filtered through a screen? Your soul may long for authenticity, but not know how to find it outside the structure it has built itself. Perhaps you identify with the archetype of the alchemist, someone who works in the laboratory of their own mind, transforming information into knowledge and knowledge into wisdom. Your window is not a window onto nature, but onto human constructions. But it is precisely there, among metal and glass, that you can find the path to the soul, if you allow yourself to descend from the level of the head to the level of the heart. If this window caught your attention, you likely carry within you a truth that many avoid, that life can be empty, unpredictable, painful, and lonely. By choosing the image of a desert with a solitary tree under a blood-red sky, your soul does not seek to flee suffering but to confront it. You're not interested in decorations, false lights, or illusions of hope. You want to know how things really are, even if the reality is harsh, silent, and offers no easy answers. In depth psychology, the desert is not just an image of the external landscape, but a symbol of an inner state, isolation from sources, existential dryness, a spiritual crisis. Carl Jung wrote that true awakening often begins by leaving the garden to enter the desert, for it is only in a place where there is nothing that one can hear the voice of one's own soul. Your window shows that you are in a phase of life, or have been for a long time, where reality has stripped itself of appearances, and you look at the world without illusions. The solitary tree that has survived in the desert is like your psyche, wounded but alive, rejected but not broken. The fact that you see it and choose it means you feel a connection with it. Perhaps precisely because you are the one who remains standing despite years exposed to spiritual droughts, emotional storms, rejections, and a lack of meaning. The blood-red sky does not herald joy. It is not dawn, but something more unsettling, perhaps apocalyptic. Jung spoke of the archetype of the end that must precede a new birth. Perhaps you sense that something in your world, external or internal, is coming to an end, that you can no longer continue pretending, living in narratives that are not yours, that you must die symbolically to live truly. This window also points to a profound sense of loneliness, but not the superficial loneliness that can be filled with company. This is an existential loneliness, the kind felt even in the midst of a crowd, even in relationships. Perhaps you carry within you the feeling of being different, misunderstood, disconnected from the world. Perhaps you tried for years to adapt to systems, people, roles, until you realized that what you lacked was not acceptance but meaning. Your soul does not fear the void, it matures in it. For it is only in that emptiness, in that silence, in that austerity, that something authentic can emerge. Jung wrote that the psychic desert often becomes a place of revelation, but not a revelation like ecstasy, rather a painful recognition. The recognition of who you are when everything else has been taken away. Your window may mean that you already know who you are, or that you are precisely at the border between disintegration and birth. This vision of the world can be difficult for those around you. They may see you as cynical, cold, too serious. But this is not cynicism, it is courage. The courage to not sugarcoat reality, to acknowledge that love doesn't always win, that good does not always triumph, that meaning does not always reveal itself. And yet, to keep living. Your tree does not grow for anyone. It has not survived to receive applause. It is simply there. And that is your power. At the same time, this window can be a warning. For staying too long in the desert, identifying too much with loneliness, can make you forget what life is. You might start to believe that you are destined only for suffering. But that is not true. The desert is a stage, not a destination. Your tree is not dead. It is waiting for rain. It is waiting for you. But not the you that returns to old patterns. The authentic you, born in this fire. The choice of this window shows great strength of spirit. For only someone who has survived the end can truly understand the beginning. Your soul does not seek entertainment or comfort. It seeks truth, even if it is as bitter as sand stinging the eyes. But that truth can become a foundation, not of a religion or a theory, but of an inner peace that does not need answers, for it becomes the answer itself. If this vision caught your gaze and your heart, you are likely a person who does not seek only explanations, but also transcendence. By choosing the image of a cosmic vortex rising above a cracked earth, you reveal that your vision of the world goes far beyond matter, social roles, or daily dramas. You see life as something greater, mysterious, infinite, and at the same time, brutally real. It is precisely this duality that draws you like a magnet. Spirituality rooted in pain, the sky opening over a torn earth. The cracked earth you see below is a symbol of everything that has broken in and around you. Relationships that have collapsed, ideals that did not withstand time, systems that failed, parts of your identity that disintegrated. It may also signify traumas inherited from the past, cracks in the soul that have never healed. Jung called this the shadow, that part of the psyche we do not want to see, but which has a powerful effect. The fact that you choose this image shows that you are not afraid to look at these cracks, that you do not flee from what is difficult. But there is something else in you. That something else is the sky, but not just any sky. A swirling abyss of galaxies, a spiraling movement of consciousness, as if the universe were trying to tell you something. This is the symbol of the archetype of the self, according to Jung, the center of the personality that connects the conscious to the unconscious, the human to the divine. Your choice says that at the deepest level of your being, you believe that everything, even suffering, chaos, and failures, has meaning, even if it is not obvious at first glance. You are a pilgrim at the border of two worlds. On one side, you stand on an earth that cracks beneath your feet, and on the other, you gaze at a vortex that calls you to a deeper understanding. This window speaks of a person undergoing a spiritual awakening, not in the form of peaceful enlightenment, but as an intense immersion in a vortex of unanswered questions, symbols, synchronicities, and strange coincidences. Perhaps you have recently noticed that the world speaks to you, not through words, but through signs, dreams, repeating numbers, or encounters inexplicable by logic. Jung would call this a numinous experience, an encounter with something that transcends rationality, but feels real to you. At the same time, the choice of this vision may indicate an inner conflict. The mind aspires to cosmic unity, but the psyche continues to bleed from the wounds of this world. You want to believe there is a plan, a meaning, but you still struggle with the reality of suffering, unprocessed emotions, broken relationships. The galactic vortex may be your hope, but also your escape. That is why it is important not to fly too high, not to lose contact with the earth. Although it is cracked, your healing will not come solely from the sky. It must reach your roots. This window is also an image of psychic initiation. You are someone who has already passed through darkness and does not want to remain on the surface of things. You are ready to die to your old self, to be reborn into something true, profound, integrated. But this transformation is not romantic. It is painful. The spiraling movement of the galaxies is not just aesthetic. It is the archetypal movement of death and rebirth. Your choice indicates that you are ready to enter this movement, even if you do not know where it will lead you. This is an act of courage, but also of humility. What does all this say about your vision of the world? That you do not settle for appearances, that you need truth, not only rational but deep, symbolic, spiritual. You are a person who sees that the world is more complex than it seems, who knows that every crisis carries the seed of transformation, who feels that beyond the veil of chaos, pain, and misunderstanding, there exists an order, perhaps invisible, but real. This vision can make it difficult to find your place in everyday life. You may feel strange in a world of superficial conversations, quick answers, and materialistic priorities. But this does not mean you are alone. Your vision is a gift, even if it sometimes feels like a curse. For in seeing more, you feel more, and you suffer more. But you can also do more. Your consciousness is like a galaxy, inconceivable, but beautiful. And it is precisely this that drew you to this window. You have seen 5 windows. Each is a different path, a different world, a different truth about yourself. There is no single answer, nor a single way of seeing things that is better or worse. Jung taught us that the psyche is like a kaleidoscope. Its image changes with every moment, and what we see depends on where we place the crystal. Your choices have shown how your consciousness dances between light and shadow, order and chaos, the longing for closeness and the desire for freedom. Each of these windows is an invitation to know yourself fully, with courage and honesty. For it is only by accepting your storms, your valleys, your cities, your deserts, and your cosmos that you can begin to live truly, not according to the patterns of others, but according to your own unique truth. This is individuation, the path Jung pointed to. A continual approach to oneself, without fear of what you might discover. So today, do not seek answers outside. Dive into what your choice has brought you. Let the image you chose speak to you in silence and stillness. Observe what awakens in you, what moves, what demands your attention. Do not rush to judge, for all truth is a process, and this process is sacred. Thank you for allowing yourself this journey. Keep your heart open and your mind alert. The world you see is the reflection of the world you carry within you. And when you learn to look at yourself with love, you will see that all the windows lead to the same home, the home of your true being.